Hey guys, how's it going? The weather has been horrible for days. It's been cold and raining, which doesn't really help us with our journey of finishing the Ram 3500 for the trip to Buckenstock. I did get some work done the other night. My daughter had gymnastics after, that was Thursday, it's Sunday right now. After gymnastics, I came home and did some work. I'll show you what I did under the hood. If you look here, I took the inner fender well out, and I'm going to leave it out while I do an oil change because the oil filter's there. Much easier to get at from the side here than it is from underneath. But I mentioned in another video, I put a new compressor on this thing as well as a new condenser. And once I charged it back up again, well, I learned that I had a blockage in the system. So took the inner fender well out. Much easier to get these lines off. So I replaced all of the AC lines. Both of these lines, condensers new. You guys can see this one's pretty minty. The old one was all smashed. Which is not good, right? This is the first line of defense when air goes through your intercooler and then your transmission cooler and then your rad. Okay, new dryer and all new lines. Okay, I've put this thing under vac. I'm going to put it under vac today. Couldn't refill it because the temperature was like 14 degrees Celsius. Much too cold for recharging an AC system. Okay, and I'll be jumping in and out. I bought this BD Diesel. I bought a lot of products from them. They're a Canadian company. Notice there's a lot of diesel companies in Canada, and I like that. Nothing wrong with. I order a lot of stuff from the States too, but it's nice when these guys are located in British Columbia, if I remember correctly. Anyways, so I was gonna rig up my own transmission cooler, and then I found this setup online. Not cheap, not expensive. Right here. So this is a standalone transmission cooler. Okay, and it has an 800 CFM fan on it. Okay, basically how this works, I'm gonna have to cut my factory transmission cooler lines, and then I will run on the outlet line, which comes out of my transmission cooler. Right before the transmission, I'll cut that. I'll spin it around to face the back of the truck, and then I'll have the one that I cut, and then I will run one line in and one line out, and the line that comes out will go back to the transmission. Now, this also has a thermostat on it. It turns on at 180 and turns off at 165 or 170. So the problem I've been having with this truck, friends, this truck is tuned. It's got 35s on it. The transmission has been replaced. I don't know what's been done to it though, because of course I didn't build the transmission. But this truck right now, if you're sitting in bumper to bumper traffic, and it takes a while, friends, it's not like it overheats in 5 minutes. But I got stuck in a traffic jam for an hour the other day in Winnipeg, and my transmission temp hit 210 degrees. Now, it was 35 Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit out. So, again, my fan clutch works, and everything seems to be fine. I just feel like this truck needs a little extra. So, I'm going to start rigging this up. It comes with brackets. Underneath here, there's brackets. This is an entire kit. So I got to figure out a place where I'm going to mount this thing underneath the truck. I'm also going to do a transmission service today, oil and filter. And I got something that I've wanted for a while, but I'll show you guys that later. Okay, here's the transmission cooler in the brackets. You just cut it, and so it's going to be on a slight angle and sideways. And then here's my fittings. They're going to go. This one's going to go this way on an angle. My hoses will run through here, one and the other. This right here. Okay. And then this will be the outlet. And see this is where the thermostat goes in. And it'll turn it on and off. Now I got to go underneath and find a spot Okay guys, I've already got the transmission pan dropped. That took me about an hour. It was glued on real good. Whoever did that did a good job. I've had it dripping for about an hour because I don't want transmission fluid all over me. And now if we have a look, not a ton of space underneath here. At first I thought I'd mount it here vertical, but I can't get enough of an angle on my brackets. So I'm going to mount it on the frame rail here sideways, and it'll be like this, and that's how it should go. Yeah, so all I have to do now is mark, drill, and tap a couple of holes, 4 bolts, and then we'll be able to mount this thing and start plumbing it. An hour later, and just doing a transmission service while I'm in here. This is a 68 RFE. It has 2 filters, screw on, and then that one. There's also a gasket or seal that goes in there, so I hammered out the old one and put a new one in, and then the inlet or the outlet for that goes into that. And then here's my transmission cooler. I mounted it off the frame rail, and it's got a couple inches to the drive shaft. I think that'll be just fine. I don't foresee my drive shaft wandering sideways that far. I was actually thinking maybe I'll move it over, but here's the thing. The outlet here will almost touch the bracket there, so I decided just to leave it the way it is. It's nice and sturdy. These brackets are kind of hokey. They're hard to work with. Not super impressed with the brackets. Self-tapping screws went in nice. So now I actually bought bypasses because in my neck of the woods it gets real cold here, and it would be nice to be able to shut this thing off for winter. But I bought the wrong hose clamps, so I'm just going to rig this up with no bypass for now, and I'll bypass it when we're back from our trip. Okay, and yeah, so idea is inlet line is here, outlet line is there. That has a temp probe on it, and there's one connection for the fan and one connection for the temp probe. And right here, there's a diagram. This is my inlet line. This one goes to the transmission cooler, the stock one, and this one comes from it. I'm going to cut this line. I'm going to cut it here and somewhere back here. Put the compression fittings on that come in the kit, and then I'll run my hoses back this way and hook them up in there. So, and then I'll pull all my wires through and we should be good to go. I gotta fix that oil leak, friends. I'm pretty sure I know where it's coming from. I ordered parts. If there's time, I'll do it. While I'm under here, I'm gonna drop the oil out of this thing and just keep going. I'll hit you guys back up. Oh, and whoever put this transmission pan on last time meant business. They glued it on, and let me tell you, it took me an hour to get this transmission pan off. I had to hammer on it and beat it and pry on it. I bent it a little bit, but we should fix it. I got a gasket for this, so I don't know why you wouldn't put a gasket on here instead of gluing it on. Maybe the fellow didn't have a gasket, but anyhow, I'm going to undo that bracket there and try and spread these lines apart, and hopefully I can make enough distance that I can use my pipe cutter. And while we're doing all this other work, we might as well do oil and filter. I already dropped the oil and screwed on the filter. Really accessible through the fender wall, which I already removed to do the AC lines. So I figured, well, I still have that off. Might as well dump this in there. This is 540 Delvac full synthetic. Oh, this is what I use. It's available. It's not the cheapest oil. I don't know. I just changed my oil a lot. I've never really had a problem with any oil. I can't remember how much this truck takes, so I'll dump 2 jugs in here and see where that gets us. This thing holds like 12 liters, 12 quarts if you're American. And these are 1 US gallon or 3.78 liters, so. And I already filled up my oil filter. I don't like starting a turbo engine without any oil in it. It's just one of my things. This thing's pretty easy to do an oil change on. The filter's a little tricky to get at if you don't have the fender well out. I preferred my Power Stroke. That thing was super, super easy. I'm not going to be starting this yet. I haven't put any oil or transmission fluid in. Got the transmission pan on. I used a gasket with a little bit of Moto Seal. One bolt was kind of not happy when I was trying to torque them down. 105 inch-pounds is what I read online in several places. So I had to laugh. An old video I put up working on this truck, somebody posted, he posted 95 foot-pounds for the axle retainer bolts. My son did that, and he stripped all his bolts. You owe him a hub. And I was thinking, follow what I do at your own risk. So there you guys go. 2 gallons doesn't even show up on the stick. So what I did was I thought, well, maybe I gave out wrong information, because I care, friends. I try to present information as it comes to me and that I feel is accurate. So I went and looked. What is the torque spec for the axle bolts on an AAM 11.5 inch axle, which is what this truck has for 1 ton? And wouldn't you know, it's 95 foot-pounds. So I don't know what that fella done, but hopefully you got her fixed up. Still not on the stick here, friends. Just at the bottom. After I do this, I'll run my cooler lines. I was gonna put a bypass in, and I bought the wrong clamps, so I can't do that today. So I'm just gonna run the cooler lines, and I'll have to put a bypass in before winter. There you go, 10 liters, 10 quarts, whatever you want to call it, is just on the bottom of the stick. I overfilled this last time I did it, which is probably part of the reason why my truck was leaking so bad. Okay, and I got my AC lines on. I put this thing on vac. I'm checking to see if it holds vacuum. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's just on the add mark. I'll put about another liter in, and we'll run her like that. And see, I don't want to overfill this thing, because then that creates crankcase pressure, and then they start leaking oil. This thing leaks oil pretty good. I plan to fix that. I don't know if I'm going to do that before the trip. We'll see if I have time. That's not a major job, but I got to take the upper and lower valve cover off. So, okay, there we go. It's about halfway to the safe mark. I'll leave it there. Grab this. Okay, so we know we got oil in this thing now. I always put oil back in, because sometimes you forget, friends. It does happen. Okay, now I'm going to run my transmission lines, and while I'm doing that, my gauges have held vacuum for about 15 minutes, so I'll fire up my pump and open up my gauges. I don't know if you guys know anything about this stuff, but and put this thing back on vacuum. I'll vac this down for the next half an hour to hour, and then we can fire the truck up and start charging it. Okay guys, it's about an hour and a half later. Vac pump's still running. Nice vac on both of them. I filled the transmission fluid, filled the engine oil. The cooler is all run. I'll hop underneath and show you guys that. Okay, so I cut the line there and here. It used to go that way. And then it goes up and over along the frame. You guys can see it there. Along the frame. into the inlet and outlet. Okay. Pretty clean install. The only thing I didn't like, friends, was the clearance over the drive shaft. So I got a P-clamp right there, and I secured it really well. And I think we should be okay now. Just have to have keep an eye on these fittings. This one looks like it's got a little drip, so hopefully that one's not going to leak. But that's why we're doing this now, so if there is any issues, I can work them out over the next week. Okay, I'm going to fire the truck up, get it warm, and pretty much done. Okay guys, got it all wrapped up, put back together. I have delicious air conditioning now. I charged that back up, and everything seems to be working well. No leaks. I will say with this transmission cooler, these transmissions run hot in these trucks. At least that's been my experience. Transmission sitting around 153 to 160. I've had this thing running for an hour probably. Oh, it's nice to have air conditioning. This thing used to cruising down the highway in weather like this, about 170, 175. It would get up to 180. And then again, when you're in traffic, it would end up spiking 200, 210, 220. So, oh, this is so nice. Look at that. Oh, it's so cold. I'm very happy. Well, I guess we'll be taking this thing to bucket stock. I have a couple other little things to do to it, but other than that, it's ready to go. Oh, I'm dirty. Been laying underneath this thing. So there we go, friends. Finally got a good day, nice weather, and in the last couple weeks we've done front axle seals, replaced the oil in the front axle, upper and lower ball joints, a transmission cooler transmission service, new AC compressor, lines, dryer, and condenser, recharge that, and an oil change. So everything's pretty much new on this truck, friends. Front drive shaft, U-joints, front rear brakes, pads, rear diff I did the bearings in, and I think we're done for a while. Anyhow, friends, we will be going to bucket stock in this truck. It's official. I'm going to drive it around this week, and if it doesn't do anything, this is the truck we're taking. And I look forward to the journey. Anyhow, friends, thanks for watching. Take her easy. Later.